Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Welcome back to the Master Bus.
it's the Master Bus.
It's your boy Steve Keys.
Andy Mugumbya.
Yeah, let's go. And tonight we have a special guest. Oh my God, we've waited for so long for this gentleman to show up on this show.
Abadde busy.
Abadde busy.
Abadde busy.
Okufuna.
He's a very busy. Beba n'abantu ababeera busy mu ggwanga.
Manyi ziri sente zabaita the Benjamins. Zetu zabeeramu.
Now, the beauty about our guest today,
Let's go.
he has no excuse. I knocked back a freestyle. It is Peter Mukiibi from
Everybody
Admire.
put your hands together for Peter.
So, Peter,
Yeah.
you have no excuse. I know your background.
Oh man.
You used to be a professional rapper. Actually, let me take this back.
Oh.
Yeah. Here we go.
Let's go.
Every creative that we host has to do a freestyle.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
people have done it. Lawyers, actresses. The last person we had was Nana Kaga. She killed it. So, please don't disappoint. Peter Mukiibi, ladies and gentlemen, from Admire.
1,
2, let's go.
Master Boss. Yo, yo. Here we go.
Hey.
Come on.
Hey. Go.
Yo, it's me and Benon on the mic
Hey,
with
hey.
Steve Keys, ready to push those keys. Yo, are you listening out there? It's UG's time. Come on now.
Let's go.
Oh
Peter
man.
Mukiibi.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Master Bus. Mr. Peter Mukiibi in the house.
Mbo Peter.
Azizukizoli.
Peter.
Aberendi mukyalo
Yo,
kyamwe.
so nice to have you. We go way back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to kwewanira on Steve here. I was going to tell him, yo, this is my hobby. And then I remembered also.
But let me tell you, for first things first. So I've been trying to get Mukiibi to come on this show, but he was paying me back because I was supposed to play on his wedding.
Yeah.
And then,
No take away
Man.
bed.
no. So,
man was AWOL.
so what happened? I think he booked me for a date. Then they needed me. And then another person booked me. Now percent.
Yeah, Steve.
But what is the
How
adver-
But I
dare
forgive you.
I'm going to play at the anniversary. What is the 10 years?
You know my wife is listening, so
And
it's on you.
Free to make up for.
Well, we shall discuss that.
Have you noticed the man is even sweating?
Already.
Free. No, but yeah, it's all good.
How long has it been now?
5 years.
5.
Yeah,
5 years already.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Woo-wee. So, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
For Nambi. It must have been very, very, very challenging. Omanyife, but outside, when we get to see the teasers and,
The teaser was sick.
yeah, so.
Oh my God.
But we never get to know, we understand and appreciate the fact that Sivyangu, the long hours editing, and now that
True.
yours has a lot of
Visual.
CGI and stuff like that. Walk us through a bit of the challenges and the learning and unlearning you had to go through to get to be able to get to the theaters and the cinemas.
Okay, so the first one is always money. To do good things, you really need money, and we didn't have. Like every independent filmmaker, you know that the money is either going to come from your pocket or you're going to have well wishers. But just to explain the journey, the script writing took about 5 years because I was writing the script myself. I don't call myself, a script writer per se, but it's just one of those things whereby you tend to learn to wear many hats, when you're in this industry.
Yeah,
You're
it's the
forced
nature
to-
of the
Yes,
business.
yeah. And if you can't pay someone, then you do it yourself. So I wrote the script for quite some time. I tried to reach out to friends like Kemiondo, Clive, my mother-in-law, to help me with the script, and I kept on refining it. But yeah, after time passed, I'd also met this other friend called AK Simba, and I told him about the idea, and then he told me, whenever you're ready. Then we met 3 years later, and I it was one of those Januaries, and I told him, this year it's happening. So he told me, no, you still have my offer. Whenever you're ready, we are doing this.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So getting it from script writing to now the production was also really hard, because now you have to put together a team. Filmmaking is a team sport. You know, it's not something that you do on your. Of course, everybody has a way they do it, and there are people like students, especially, who do films, single-handedly and all that. But if you want to make a film that has all the aspects, at that level, you really need to find other experts to work with. So that was a bit of a challenge, talking to people and interesting them into the idea of, this is a really good idea. Come on board, let's work. Giving promises. I deleted the word empty. Promises. That, when we do this and we do this, then we will pay. But yeah, so that's pretty much how it happened. But the real thing that made that film actually be made. And I have to be, very, should I say, direct about this one. It was COVID. It was during COVID. We were just seated at home doing nothing. Then my wife was like, what's up with you? I think my good friend Lukman had just released the Girl in a Yellow Jumper. I don't remember whether it was a trailer or something like that. And she was like, when are we going to celebrate you? It's high time you did your own, your own film. So I just looked at her and I told her, okay, if you're willing to do the costume, I'll do the film, because at that time she had quit.
Into design.
Yeah,
She's a designer.
Badass stylist. Shout out to our madam.
Yeah. So yeah, she really supported me on the journey.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how, in a nutshell, we started. Of course, I don't know if you want to hear the other part of the production and
that's why you are here.
Oh.
And this show is meant to shed light on things in the creative world that people never actually get to see. That's why we have people like you, and not the actual superstars that we see on in front of the camera.
Because for a kid sitting at home who watches Nambi on the screen, we want them to get a picture of how the whole thing happens. In their head, sometimes in your head you see things on the screen and say, I'm going to do that, but then you don't know what the process is. So when you share your experience,
anything that I mean, this is what the show is all about.
Okay. So of course,
first of all, is Nambi your first film?
Yes, it's my first film.
Wow.
Okay.
I had worked on some films before, but for other people, for people like Kemi on Chemvu. Yeah, I think that's the one, and then Nambi.
I also know that you do some post work for Sanyo. Is it Sanyo Prestige?
Yes. I think in season 1, season 2, and some season 3 work. Yeah, so that was something. But of course,
jump to that.
Yeah, so, TV is very different from film. So.
P.S. We've been trying to get Kemi on this show. So Kemi, if you're watching the show, please.
Yeah, Kemi is a good friend.
We are bringing you on the show sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes,
very
go
talented.
ahead, sir.
So how the production started, it was with a meeting with Simba. We met at Cafe Seri and we said, okay, let's do this. And then after him, I realized that I needed to find a producer who was really experienced in the film industry in Uganda. So I reached out to Usama. I'd met Usama during our days at Sanyu, and we just had a bit of interaction there. And then I knew at that point he wasn't. So one of the things that I didn't want to do or run into is picking a person who was on a production. And I remember even when we were looking for a makeup artist, there's someone they had referred us to, but when we reached out to her, she was on a production. And she was like, oh, let me talk to my boss and see if he will allow me, because we shot the film in Moyo. And it wasn't going to be easy, you know, to go back and forth. So we knew that we had to block out a whole week of traveling to Moyo, staying there. And
how did you find the
location?
The
location scouting. So it turned out that I had done a job for an organization called GIZ about 4 months before, and it was a job documentary about refugees in Uganda. So we had traveled up, you know, in Adjumani, basically far north up. Moyo was one of the longest distance I'd ever been on. 9 hours, 11 if you're going slow.
Oh my God.
So yeah, imagine we're in our drone behind those GIZ Penkonis, you know, and they are flying, and you're like, okay, guys, we'll catch up with you, you know. So yeah, depending on the car you're using, it can be 11 hours. And had seen the place, but I hadn't settled on it. So when we were doing the pre-production, we scouted a number of places. We went to Soroti, Kabale. Basically, we were looking for a backdrop that has no sign of human settlement, because the story required that. You know? So, for instance, in Kabale, my friend Wilbur had found us some caves, but everywhere you would turn the camera, you would see
Mabati,
lights. We're like, no, this will not work. And then Simba had seen my pictures on Instagram, social media, when I was in Moyo, and he was like, where is this place? I told him it's in Moyo. He was like, let's shoot the film from there. I said, nope. I'm never going back. It's so far. It's so hot. You guys, it's so far and so hot. So I had vowed never to go back. And then he managed to convince me that let's shoot the film.
So Simba came on as what? Art director?
Yeah, so Simba was the production designer. Production designer, of course, doubling. You know, and then he insisted we go there. So, but Simba doesn't live here. Simba lives in Belgium. So we did a recce back to Moyo, because we had seen the place, but we didn't have the actual location where we would shoot the film. So we had to go back there. I think we spent 4 days doing a location scouting. There's a place where we had to cross, and you know, they tell you, hey, man, the other side is South Sudan. You know, you have to be careful where you tread. You know, you know, like on those borders, usually there are landmines and all that. So you have to just be careful. And, you know.
My God!
So, but I mean, it's risky. Sometimes can, you know, get that adrenaline pumping. So we were location scouting with pangas and all that stuff. And then luckily on day 2, we bumped into a Muzei who was like, I have some caves on my hill, you know. So we're like, okay, take us there.
Did they understand what exactly you were planning to do?
So we told them we were just shooting a film and we were looking for caves. Now, of course, you would argue that there are caves in Soroti, there are caves in Buganda, and you know, in Mukono, where. But, you know, with all these caves, you have to be careful. Like the ones here in Buganda, they told us, if you're going to shoot there, you have to be ready to fast, you know.
Undress,
those things. And then, so we realized that we needed something that was, you know, nothing really was happening there. So they showed us this cave. They told us people used to hide there during the war and stuff like that. And the first one we got to was too small. You know, when you're shooting, you always have to look for enough room for the camera and space. Then on day 2, we trekked again the hill and looked for another cave until we found the one that would work. And then we did all the measurements and things like that. And yeah, that's the cave we ended up using. But aside from the location, so of course you have to do what you call prepping. And it took us about 4 to 5 months prepping the crew. Because, you know, acting is one of those things, and you know, people never realize this, but it's something that you really need to like get yourself into. You know, you just can't wake up in the morning. Of course, there are people who are really experienced.
Naturals.
Yeah, but even when someone is going to do a script for Black Panther, they will ensure that he has it way prior, so that he goes through it and understands. So we did about 4 table reads with the actors, basically blocking their steps, choreographing the acting and things like that, practicing the accents. You could think that it's in Luganda or in English and it will be that easy, but you also have to be mindful that what are you trying to depict? How are you going to say those words? Is it going to be English or like Ugandan English, or are you? So it took us 4 months just working with the actors, then also doing the costume. The costume designer needed time. Then with the makeup, we went through a number of different styles with the hair, with just seeing what would work. I recently watched Shaka Ilembe, and one of the first hairstyles were done for Chintu. I saw it in Shaka Ilembe, and of course we turned it down. It kind of felt too stylish, but I was like, people are going to say, you guys, but
there is that fear.
We realized that the story was based on the first man, and what would that look like? So we envisioned a caveman. And we knew that he needed to be rough. We told him to stop cutting his hair and nails 5 months prior to shooting, so he never cut his nails for that long.
Oh my God.
And in the film, when you see it, you see the roughness.
Do the fake ones?
Well, sometimes it's always good to
why
do.
Why fake it when you can have?
Yeah, because I'm thinking about 6 months, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to shoot things as authentic as you can, if you can. Yeah. So we were lucky that Bint, the guy who acted as Chintu, he's a teacher, and he said that he thinks he can do it, and yeah.
Did you choose the actors and actresses?
So the actors and the actresses. So what I did, Osama helped me get like a bunch of people, and basically you look through them as a director. It took me a while to find Chintu. Nambi was from the first auditions that I saw, because we auditioned them. I first looked through YouTube and looked for some people, and then Usama managed to audition them and things like that. Then we picked Nabanja, who did an amazing job.
And she looked beautiful.
I mean, Baganda, we are hot.
Hot. Let's check out the preview for some of you who don't know what we are talking about. It already feels grand, and
the sound is amazing.
Yeah. Woo wee! That set looks really amazing.
The world of men is not to be played with.
Wow.
Have you seen that foot?
Who is that?
Walumbe.
No, I mean the person.
Yeah, he's a guy called Moses.
woo, woo.
Man.
Nambi.
You know, let me tell you something. Like the first time I watched this trailer, and I saw this, that image, and
The world of men is not to be played with.
that, straight away I'm thinking, oh, processing power.
Yeah, man. Yeah, those things made us
days
sweat.
of render.
Yeah.
and, you know.
Oh my God.
They made us sweat.
Yo, this.
Yeah, actually, in the film, even though we had shot, I think we shot 8K. We couldn't afford the 3D renders, even in 4K
that resolution.
Yeah, so we had to bring everything down to 2K. So. Which is always, a tough one. You're like, because you have to balance the images so that something doesn't look too sharp, and then this. So those were some of the challenges we faced. And the thing about computation is that you would think if 2K, let's say, costs $1,000, 4K will cost 2,000. No, but it's like 8,000. It has that compounding thing,
Wow.
because the atmospherics and all that stuff, the wind, the smoke, the foliage.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So it's fair to say that this is a big budget.
Yes. In terms of what it would take to execute, it was really, really big budget. Of course, because of the experience that we've had, like playing around with these
this is your
softwares
world,
and
really.
stuff. Yes.
Admire. Yeah, this is your world.
We were lucky. We were lucky that we didn't have to pay ourselves. We just needed to worry about the render money, that because the rendering we
You
couldn't
had
do
to
it
use
in
render
house.
farms.
Yes, we couldn't do it in house. Yeah.
What motivated you? I mean, besides your wife, obviously.
Yeah.
But like what made you feel like I really need to jump on this project?
So I've always felt like we have very rich stories as Africans, those mythologies. At least when I was young, I remember very well when they would tell us those stories, whether it was by the fireplace or even in class, in P1, and they're telling you, today we are going to learn about the first man, Chintu. It was so fascinating the way they were delivered. And when you hear the stories of how, Walumbe used to pop out of the halls and then rush back in, take Chintu's kids, and the whole Gulu, I had always desired to see that story on film, and I think when I first saw, I think it was Lord of the Rings, and of course you see all these Greek mythology films, and you're like, where, I remember our stories.
Yeah.
So for me, that is one of the things where I kind of looked at, and the good thing is that film is beginning to really take up in Uganda, and it's growing. We are producing more and more films, but for some reason, no one was really attempting to produce our stories at that level. And if you remember those stories from Chintu and Nambi to Gipiri and Labongo, the Bachwezi dynasty, the Babito, those all had unique characters and characteristics about them. And I can't wait for us to tell more of those stories. But of course, it's a game of genres, and you find that you might need these stories, but you also need the comedy, you need the drama, So I just felt like, if everybody's doing drama, comedy, action, maybe I can do this historical thing, and I had the passion for it.
Yeah, but I think also, I think everyone tends to be pulled into an area like they're too exposed in. Like,
Yes.
I know you as a guy who is into 3D and doing all these things. So I'm sure that also helped to influence the direction.
Yeah, it did.
And also, like, out of experience, like, if say you have an idea and you want to shoot, but sometimes you are second guessing yourself.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people acted as like your cheerleaders, or you know, they helped to encourage you.
True.
Like I'm sure AK played a big role to
True.
make it happen.
True.
Your wife and and the other people that you involved. They're like, okay, let's do this. Then you're like, hey, okay, it's actually happening.
Actually, I have interesting stories of how the core team came together. One of the most, should I say, important aspects of filmmaking is lighting. And there's this gentleman, he's called Hanish Rubanza, lives in the US. He had approached me about 10 years ago. He wanted to intern at Admire. And I was like, hey, dude, right now we have no, opportunities and things like that. He was like, oh, I really have a passion for film. But it just didn't happen, So fast forward later, he gets married to an American. They go and live in the US, but he stayed with a passion of filmmaking. So out of the blue, I see his Instagram, and he's always like on film sets, doing things. So I reached out to him one time. I was like, yeah, I'm a gaffer. I really love this stuff. But Instagram messages, you talk to someone, then you take another yarn. So one day it was like at 3 a.m. in the morning, when we are asleep this side, they're awake. So I saw him online, and then we started chatting. Then we were talking about many other things other than the film. And then towards the end of the call, I told him, by the way, I've decided to do my short film. And I was like, oh, really? So he says, send me a script. So I sent him the script. And about 30 minutes later, he reaches out to me and he's like, dude, this is really nice. How can I help? So I tell him, hey, man, you're in the US. I don't think we can even afford you. And he was like, no. I will pay for my air ticket and I will fly over and help you guys with the lighting. I can see how I'm going to light the scenes in Gulu. We will, put up these silver panels and everywhere, like really make it. I was like, oh, dude, I couldn't believe it. And then, so he and AK Simba flew in a day before we traveled to Moyo. But he managed to light the film with all the challenges that we had. For instance, we were shooting in the cave, we were shooting at night, and he managed to light it to look like it was during the day. So that kind of experience, but it's because of his background that he has been in the US. He sees how these things are happening. Then the other gentleman was Abu, the other producer. So him and Usama were the producers. But he had worked with Admire for about 5 years, and then he got married and went to the UK. So he's a producer in the UK, but he also read the script, and he was like, I want to come down and help you guys. But he did a lot of work in terms of when you're doing a film, it's not just about the cameras and the people, but you have to do things like sign NDAs, risk assessment documents, and things like that.
Oh my God!
Because when you reach that point where you need to sell a film, they ask you for all these things, and if you don't have your insurance in place, and so he was very instrumental.
Street people.
Those things. So he was very instrumental in that. And then film has these 3 parts, whereby the first part where you're doing the financing, trying to look for the money, then the production, then the marketing and what distribution. So the marketing and distribution, it's something that you really have to prepare for, and if you haven't done these other things really well, it can be tough for you.
Actually, for us, our very first short movie we did.
The Rolex?
We of course we did pre-production. It was self-funded. We didn't think about what happens after, marketing and whatever. So here we were with the film project. Then we're asking people around, so what do you guys do after you have a film? Apply for festivals. It was a learning for us, and it's not like we regret the process, but a lot of those things we learned, after taking the jump.
True.
And sometimes I think it's important. Take the jump.
Yes.
It will always be a learning curve.
I'm telling you.
It's so challenging, and I love the fact that actually, for me, it humbled me because. After like 8-10 years of, doing TVCs, music videos, you would think that you'd know.
Film is a different monster. Yeah.
I'll give you an example. We were supposed to shoot for like 2 nights. You know, it's a 14-minute short movie.
What's so
2
hard?
nights. First night, it rained.
Same thing happened to us.
Rain.
Yeah.
We actually, I think I don't think we shot even a full scene on the first day.
Yeah.
Second day, tried to patch things here and there. It was a learning experience and very humbling.
Yeah.
I respect film.
Yes.
How long did it take you to shoot Nambi?
So we had planned for a 5-day shoot in Moyo and then a 2-day shoot in Kampala. But because of budgets, we had to cut the 5-day shoot to 3 days. So here I am panicking, sweating. We have no money. We had booked, I think, for the first 2 days in Moyo. We didn't have the money for the other days. And then my producer looks me in the eye and he says, Peter, we're going to shoot this film in 3 days. I'm like, there's no way, look at these scenes. I've blocked out my scenes. He told me, dude, do you want to do the film or not?
Yeah.
So we decided to shoot 3 days in Moyo. And even in those 3 days, we made a decision to use one of the days just to block. So we arrive in Moyo, the crew is tired, the journey was so long, we tell them, okay, sleep. The next day we use the whole day to block and basically to get them into the rhythm of climbing up the hill because it was a 20-minute walk up the hill. And then we did blocking. Now on the day of the shooting, we were ready. At 4 a.m. we were below the hill. There was a school there that we managed to use. They were so kind to us. It started raining. You guys, it rained from 4 a.m. to midday. Now the 2 days have turned into one and a half days. That's why I told you that Gaffer had to light the cave to look like it was during the day, yet it was at
so
night.
that you shoot.
Exactly. So it was really hard trekking up that hill with the costumes and things like that. But the team was really brave. The locals in Moyo, kudos to those guys. And the tourism guy in Moyo, some gentleman called Alex, they really helped us gather people. And they were fascinated just watching us shoot. Like those Walumbe scenes. The kids were standing on the rocks and just really mesmerized seeing the smoke and the fire, all those effects in camera that we had to do. So that's how we ended up shooting in 3 days. And then we came to Kampala and did 1 day because that's what we could afford. And then we boxed.
Does that mean you
everything.
had to, did you lose any scenes?
So we lost scenes in Moyo. I had to make that decision that okay, we're going to cut out this scene. There was a scene where Kayiku's was supposed to appear as a tornado, and then enter the cave and yank his sister out. So we had to cut that out because we needed to gather dust, huge fans and stuff like that. So that we had to do away with. And then the other part was shot in Belgium. So there's a scene in Belgium. And the reason why that scene is in the film is that the first time I shared the script with some people who had knowledge about things like Netflix and marketing films, they were like, where's the marketing angle here in this story and all that? I know how those stories are. If you remember, for instance, Gods Must Be Crazy, how they dropped a Coca-Cola bottle. That product placement, can do well for the film because then you can get some money from those. But now the story of the first one, you're like, where do I put anything? There's nothing here. So in the end, I had to write this scene whereby the film starts in the diaspora. And it was basically to show that people, of course, leave their countries, Uganda, Nigeria, and go to live in the UK. But they still want to be in touch with their roots, their homeland and stuff like that. So we had this family in Belgium, very good people. They loved us. They're half Belgian, half Ugandan, half Kenyan, I think the husband is from Belgium, and their kids. So their kids are half caste, half Ugandan.
So they just want to trace back.
Yes, and it worked
Interesting.
out magically, like that. So they gave us their house, they gave us their kids. Simba's kid was also one of them, and they did an amazing job.
Oh, interesting. So
Yeah.
you had to fly to Belgium.
So now that was another thing. The producer kept on saying, Peter, you have to fly. But I was like, how do we use money to fly? When we have
still
people who
have-
haven't paid
yeah.
and all that. So in the end, we decided that I would direct that scene remotely. So we did about 2 meetings with the kids and the grandmother and the mother, just basically walking through their lines and trying to train them. And then on that day, you guys, I was directing on Zoom. So that the DOP, some guy called Evo, that side, managed to get a
I
system.
think I met Ivo.
Yeah.
He's been to Uganda.
Yeah, he has.
Okay.
So he managed to set up a system for me whereby I would be routed in through Zoom. And you guys, I was on that Zoom for like 9 hours straight. I got tired. My phone was hot. But you know how it is when you're trying to direct kids and you have to be patient with them and things like that.
Oh my God.
And then we had to wait for the timing because some scenes had to happen at a particular time. Yeah. So that's how we did the film.
Young directors out there, do you still want to direct? Incredible.
Yeah. And that's the thing about our industry. Like, people always look at us and they're like, oh, that guy is cool. What he does is cool. But it's
the
such
work.
hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The work.
I wish people would know. And not in a way to discourage them, but you just have to prepare your mind
Yes.
that you're not coming to look cool and be cool. Like, you're coming to work.
The
you know?
work,
So once you have that mindset, then there's nothing that you can't achieve.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's just like making music. People may not understand that it involves like sleepless nights.
Yeah.
Literally.
Doing things over again.
Yeah.
Sometimes people say things to you that make you, think twice. You're like, no, I think your voice sounded bad in that song.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
Sometimes you're spending an hour just looking for the perfect sample
Yeah.
or a kick.
that's the most annoying thing.
Yeah. And if there's someone in the room, they're always like,
Would I just put that
you keep
one?
playing
Yeah.
that thing over and over again.
Like my friend,
man.
it has to feel, not even to sound right, it has to feel right.
Exactly.
So, reason why I asked you about if you deleted any scenes and left out, so that's something I also learned. So I have a very crazy business partner.
Yeah.
I think to push us the creative side of the business, sometimes it just creates timelines.
Yeah.
So for Rolex, it was like, you guys, let's design a poster, put a release date, and put it out.
Yeah.
Because he saw I was over.
So now you work backwards.
So some of the things were not making sense in the
Yeah.
edit
Yeah.
because we're not able to shoot everything.
Yeah.
And thank God, when I happened to I was chatting with Lukman, and he told me, yo, dude, most of my films that I put out, I am like 40% happy with them.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
sure.
So I had no clue that actually most of the films the directors are not exactly happy with.
Exactly.
But that's stuff that for you,
Yes. True.
the people out there, the story can easily make sense. And for me, Rolex took me to film school. and actually, in the words of Lukman, he said, that's the actual film school.
Yes.
Not book ate na tudene soma ate no soma angles na.
Yeah.
Man, it's a lot of things dealing with people, money.
Exactly.
You have
And then
to
you have to do
money.
a lot of improvising on
True.
set. Like,
Very.
This
You
is
need
what
to be
we had
open-minded.
This is what we had in the mind, but it's
Yeah.
not working
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So we have to find a way of making it work.
Yeah, and that's why I said it's really a team sport, because now
Yeah.
you can imagine the director having all that headache of people wanting money. They're like, you guys have refused to unload the truck until you.
And it can be small things like those.
But for me, Abu, Usama, and Sharp really, they really
Sharp was on the team as well?
Yeah, Sharp was, Sharp Sawadi.
Hey, what was he doing?
So he was the assistant assistant director.
Must have been a tough one with his Ruzungu.
No, but he's very good with people. He's very good with people.
Yeah,
and those guys managed to ensure that I focused on directing, which was a good thing, and I'm forever grateful for them. Sometimes, like you said, things are changing on the fly. You know, the makeup guys are doing stuff. They need more time. You're getting worked up as a director. You're like, hey, Shakira, we need to move. And then Sharp is like, no, what? Chill. Like, give the guys time and, let them. So yeah, I mean, I like what you say that you were learning on your first film. I was also learning. But the good thing is that there was prior investment, I would say, in the whole craft, which kind of also helped me like understand some things really, really well, that I would know that, okay, you know what, for me to achieve this, this and this would have to happen. I'm first an editor. I'm a very good editor. That's something I don't fear telling people that I really edit well. So
it does help if you're a director that can edit.
Exactly.
Sometimes you can direct a scene and you're like, okay, I see the edit.
Exactly. Even when I'm doing like commercials, I will know that by 5 p.m. we'll be done because I've already edited the thing in my head. I know exactly like this scene, and when I get the scene, I move on. I'm like, and it's something that you learn over time. I remember the first time when I was editing a TV show, and the gentleman was telling me, "Man, stop holding on to scenes. Like, lose it." And then you learn that okay, when you're on the chopping board, you just have to,
because you end up with a lot of stuff that you can't use.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Oh, great.
I want to ask you. So in school. Me, I knew you as a rapper.
How did you know that is where we were going?
Because as a rapper,
those days.
But how do you end up in? Should I say
how
video?
do we get here? Because
you have a picture.
I am going to pull up something.
Let's go.
Come on now.
Pull up something because
sincerely. On now.
How do we make the big jump from?
Oh jeez! Jeez! Oh no! Guys! Oh, by the way, guys.
This bed shit.
Guys, that's
it's a
me.
Backdrop.
It's a backdrop.
That's me and Benon. So now I guess people know how far we've come. But I'm forever grateful for this gentleman. And I'll tell you why. He introduced me to music.
Really?
We used to sit on the same desk. You might have forgotten, but you're the one who told me, these guys, Boys to Men, we sing.
Steve is feeling bad.
You took me to Chemwa. Michael Chris.
Michael Chris. We used to love music. Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Yes.
So how do you get from here to admire to into the film world?
Is it what you specialized?
And has this part of the journey helped you in some way in the film and creative world?
Yes. So, wow, like it's such a huge step, when you look at this and what I'm doing now. But the truth is,
I can't recognize you.
Actually, a lot of people thought it's Vampos.
No, that's me. Yeah. But anyway, so what happened is that I really had a passion for music growing up. I used to listen to a lot of tapes. We used to go to Container Village. You took me there and we would buy tapes. Then there was another person down there at a mall that you took me to. But anyway, so I used to love music a lot. And then even when I, grew up, at some point I started like this music group. We were in church singing, and this guy from Kenya approaches us and is like, "I can make you guys big." So we're like, "Wow, this is amazing!" So he tells us, right now everybody's going to Kenya. That time it was Chameleon, Bebe Cool. They were all recording from Kenya.
DJs.
Uganda hadn't yet picked up. So we collect money from our parents, and then
this is after school.
Yes, after school in our vacation. So we collect money from our parents, we get onto a bus, we had money for a studio, and we go. And this gentleman meets us, checks us into a hotel. I don't know whether it was a hotel or a motel or whatever it was. He checks us in. Yeah. Actually, it was a lodge. He checks us in. He asks us, do you have the money for the album, recording the album? We're like, yeah. We count the money, give it to him. It's like, oh, okay. And then for your 5 nights in Kenya, he's like, let me pay. We're going to get you to another better hotel. Just give me the money. And then tomorrow I'll pick you up at 4 a.m. because we need to be at the studio at 5, Like music is a serious thing here. You can't... Man, 4 a.m., we are ready, The guy is nowhere to be seen. This is a guy who met us at church, So
I didn't know that's where the story was going.
Yeah.
Yo.
5, 6, 7. And then at some point, we try to go down to the reception. We say, someone checked us in here. What? They're like, oh, you guys have been robbed, you've been told Nairobi.
Yes.
Oh my God. Here we are. No money.
This is the guy from Uganda.
He was a Kenyan.
No, I mean he was Kenyan, but
he came to Uganda. Yeah, he met us at KPC Watoto. He was like, I can make you guys big, come to Kenya. You'll become celebrities.
Do you know where he is now?
Never met the guy again.
Okay.
But anyway, so my friends get onto the next bus and go back. I'm like, how do I tell my parents that Yeah. So I stayed in Kenya for another 2 weeks. I called up, so I had done my A-level in Kaboja. So one of our group members was actually a Kenyan. So he comes, picks me up because the other guys chose to go back on the next bus.
Cowards.
No.
Not really, but like, how do you figure it out? Like, how are you going to, you need money to stay and all that. Anyway, I stayed in Kenya for another 2 weeks. And then after those 2 weeks, I was like, okay, let me go back and, humble myself and tell my parents. So when I came back, I told them. My dad laughed hard. It wasn't the reaction I was expecting, but he laughed so hard. And then he asked me, what else do you want to do in life?
Ooh.
So I told him, I've always loved
that's
TV.
a cool dad.
Yeah, I've always loved TV. And then he was like, okay, I know a friend who has a TV station. I can talk to him and you go and do an interview. And then, so he got me an interview. I did the interview. They didn't call me for like 6 months. So you can imagine you're in your vac, then your friends start school, you're there, you're not sure. And then, eventually they called me, and then TV now opened me up to this world of, like video.
What TV was that?
That was Lighthouse Television.
Oh.
Yeah, so I started working there. My earlier days, I was just really programming things, so you'd set up the shows that are going to run that day, and but then because there were cameras, there was an editing suite, I asked my boss, I think I can do this stuff. And then, he gave me an opportunity. And from there on, I started, I grew a lot. And later on met some other guys in a startup, worked with them. I think it was Solomon Benge. And then after that, I went to Watoto, worked there for 4 years. And after Watoto,
on
started
the production team?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was kind of, like heading the media team there. And we did a lot of amazing productions. So we had Watoto used to have expatriates that would come in, and there was this gentleman called Marty who kind of held my hand, and he showed me the ropes on how to use like most of these amazing softwares, and he gave me an opportunity to do like the stuff that I love to do.
I think church needs to do a lot more of that.
No, that's what I was about to say. That actually. Do you know there were so many DJ people at Watoto Church? So many. There are Lobos.
Yeah.
What's that light-skinned guy? That guy. But there were so many people from DJ. I remember in 2007 when I really paid attention to what was happening at Watoto. I met a lot of OBs and OGs in that place. That place really shaped a lot of people's. Yeah, they did a great. So you never went to uni?
So my uni. So while I was working,
why Benon is laughing.
Yeah. So while I was while I was working, I enrolled. So I started uni before I actually started working. And then I dropped out because I was bored. And I felt like I was wasting my parents' money.
What were you studying?
Interestingly, I was doing industrial art and design. But then it was so, we had to get clay, canvas, and do things. And at that time, computers were really picking up. And I was really fascinated by what you would do in a computer. Like you would draw a box and color it red. If you didn't like it, you would change it to green. With a canvas, if you put a color, that's it. So I dropped out, and then while I was working, I managed to save some money and pay for myself to do a course at Uptake, which was a diploma in design. Yeah, so I learned Photoshop, the whole shebang. Yeah, designing. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So, how do you start admire? Walk us through that journey and how easy or difficult was it?
For me, it was difficult because I'd never seen myself in a leadership role. And I had this friend, we were together in Deji actually, he was called Robert Mukasa. And every time he after school, he went to South Africa. So he did his uni in South Africa. But he used to always fly back and he would always check on me for some reason. And then he would always see the things that I was doing at Watoto. And he kept on telling me, you're really talented. You know that? And I'll be like, yeah. But I didn't really take it serious. So after leaving Watoto, it was after he had convinced me that you should start a company, but I still didn't think I had it in me. So I took my CV around to TV stations, NTV, I can't remember the other one, UBC and all that. But I think my CV just looked like, one of those people who you're like, I'm a creative, I want to do things that people haven't done before. But he kept on telling me that, if you go to these places, you're going to be boxed in. You will only be able to do the stuff that you like to do if you're like your own boss, So after some time, I said, okay, you know what, let me give it a shot. So for me, it was kind of like something I just did out of testing. I said, let me start a company and see how that goes. So when I started the company, I remember he asked me, what do you want to call the company? I didn't have names. And then I was writing down these softwares that I wanted to use. And then at that time, there was a software called Maya. It's still there. It's a 3D software, very good at building worlds and things like that. So I kept on asking myself, should I add Maya to this list? It's very expensive, about 7,000.
That's interesting.
So should I add it? Shouldn't I add it? Should I add? At some point, I just called this like, Admire, So I called him and I said, I think I'm going to call the company Admire. Like, okay, it's a cool name, it rhymes and all that stuff. So that's how the company started. I talked to another friend of mine who had met through Solomon Benge called Arthur. He was really a kid at the time. He was actually still in school. And I talked to him to come and be a partner with me. So it was me, Robert Mukasa in South Africa, and then Arthur Nakaka, who was at campus at the time. So that started the company on my dining table. So my housemates allowed me to use the dining, to do work from there. And then from the dining, we moved into the garage, and then from the garage, then we moved into our premise at some point.
Better space.
Yes.
One of the things I'm hearing, partnerships. Benon has always been talented. When he got a partner, his life...
first go back. You said Avoris.
He doesn't believe in himself, but...
This guy, he doesn't like to give me my props, but it's okay.
I learned from the best. But like partnerships, a lot of creatives, we like to work alone because we always think that you're gonna kuja an idea.
True.
But partners are always important because they always check you. They're like, but I think you should, they give you another perspective to your ideas, which we need, even like in music or any creative arts.
Yeah.
You need someone who can be like, you need to think about the money. Because sometimes us, we are just passionate
True.
creating things, but someone has to tell you, but does it make financial sense? Or what does, so that it gives you that other, that other mindset.
Yeah.
For example, like Benon and Julius are two very different individuals.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what makes
What you need.
Swangs, what it is today. It's very important. So people out there, you need to know partnerships are important. For anyone who's going to
They
do
help.
something
They
big,
help, yeah.
Yeah.
you need partnerships. And from all the stories that you are talking about, I think you've generally been a nice person because people don't have if someone can invest their time in you, like, I like your idea, I'm going to pay my own
ticket and
maybe
come
$1,500 or $2,000
Yeah.
ticket and come,
Yeah.
and we do this thing. It's because that's the kind of person they see you as,
yeah, and if you've put in the work,
Yeah.
so so just your journey from the dining table to a garage to that's growth.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's slowly steady and
Yeah.
I love the fact that those baby steps, you're learning tons and tons of things and steadily also gaining the experience
And also
makes it beautiful.
From what Peter is saying, partnerships not just in business but even in life.
Yeah.
Because there are some days where the whole world is like, no, you're going to fail.
True.
And then you need that one person who's going to be like, I think you can do it.
Yeah.
Where I think Peter goes back in the evening and asks his wife, do you think I can really do this thing? And she's like, of course, you're the best in the world.
Yeah.
Chicho.
And then the next day is like, I don't care what everyone else says.
Yeah.
True.
So, like those friends or whatever you want to call them, wife or best friend or whoever it is, like who believes in me, somehow in my heart, I feel like you can do this. And I don't know how you sold that dream, because I think one of the things of, like, if you want to achieve a big dream but working with people, you have to sensitize them. You have to get that idea out of your head and make them see it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if they don't, they're like, no, we don't have time for that.
Actually, that's the thing. If like you want to achieve something, but with a group of people, I mean, that's what directors do. You make the people see your vision, because you're not the one going to be behind the camera. You're not the one going to do the makeup, do the styling or whatever. So as long as these people can see what's inside your head,
True.
they helped facilitate your vision to come through.
Yeah.
And pretty much that's it. Well, Peter, we are coming to the end of the Master Bus.
Let me ask Peter one question. Does your work affect your family life?
Is there a balance?
No. I think one, I have to credit them because, like you said, they've been my support system. My son was seated right next to me while I was editing, this film, and right now he knows the whole story. Yeah, he calls Walumbe Mulumbe, Chintu. So he knows all the names. But what I would say is that they've been very supportive, and not just my family, wife and kids, but also my parents, my brothers, my cousins. They've kind of pushed me on this journey, because you know what it means to be a rebel. When like when you do the kind of stuff we do, people always look at you like you're so off. Why don't you do this other? Become a doctor, engineer. The arts. We need more recognition and support. But family has been there, and I'm forever grateful. What I am is because of them.
Does it help that your wife has an idea of what exactly you are doing, film, and
absolutely,
Yeah, because if she's if she's a doctor,
yes,
a bank manager, and you're not showing up home,
exactly. What's actually interesting is that I'd always vowed never to work with her, because I think at some point in our lives, when I developed these feelings for her, I kind of felt like she would distract me when I'm on set. So even when I was doing all these gigs. I would never give her work. You know, she would be like, "How come you never call me?" And I would be like, "I don't think I can work with you right next to me." But then, as we drew closer, courted and then got married, I started realizing, how creative she was. Whenever I would be doing things, she would tell me, this thing, you need to change it, or So
you had to come down.
Yeah. Or like you say, you'd be lying on the bed, and then you're going through something, maybe the designs, and then she's like, "This won't work," and then you bash your heads. But yeah, it's been very supportive. That she's also a very creative person, and she really, really cheers me on.
Nice.
Is Admire open to collaboration?
Yes, of course, because you realize that I think where we are going, if you look at most of the Western films, you'll see a film like Iron Man, and it has over 10, 20 studios on it, whether it's VFX or what. So I think even us as Ugandans, we need to get to that level where we learn how to harness our different talents and bring them together. I can imagine, like having like a Benon Mugumbya on some music thing, and then you have like this visual guy like Lukman. It starts to help, bring that best of the different worlds together, and also it opens up your audience to a much bigger audience. So you can imagine, if you have 3 great people on a project, all the people who are following that person. So yes, Admire in a nutshell, we are.
Yeah, I think that's the only way we are going to be able to do big films. And, that's the right word, Okusamba.
Because we can see the potential is there. A lot of it.
It is.
But we need all the power. When we come, even in music, not just in, like even music, for us to, and that's what, I don't know, like that's what it's now a common sense. That's what the Nigerians did to take to make Afrobeats popular. Now, like they came together and then pushed it.
True.
So I think we need to do that. Everybody, give it up.
We'll
for
be
Peter
a force.
Admire.
Hey, thank you guys.
I have some trivia questions for you before we close the show. Are you ready?
Yep.
Don't explain.
Okay.
Just direct answers.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Ari or red?
Ari.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
Okay. Movies or commercials?
Movies.
CGI or real life?
CGI, man.
CGI. What's the best day of your life?
The best day of my life, I think, is the day I got married.
Daily motivation?
Daily motivation. Wow, creativity. Creativity.
Favorite place to create?
Favorite, in my bed early in the morning.
The best advice you ever got?
Best advice I ever got was companies don't start small because they are small. Companies start small because that is the place to start.
Please say that again.
Companies don't start small because they're small. Companies start small because that is the place to start. So organic growth, and then you build.
Last question. Advice to those that coming after you.
Well, the world is your oyster, just imagine and dream, whatever we want, we can achieve. If we put our minds to it.
One more time, everybody, give it up for Peter.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Yes.
Peter Mukiibi.
Thanks for coming out, bro. Good to see you in a very long time. I can't wait to perform on your anniversary.
Hey.
Everybody,
This is
don't
on
forget
record.
to subscribe.
This is on record.
It's on record.
It's on record.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, and all that stuff. Thank you very much for hanging out with us, and see you on the next one.
The Master Bus.
We're out.
Yep.
Hey.